Well, I'm really excited about having Sarah on tonight, and I've known Sarah for since way before I was a coach. Like she was one of the first people I met in Alpena when I was miserable. She's just like this bright ray of sunshine in a very cold place. And when I started coaching, I was at kind of a funky place in my life too with Brandon's job. So I'm excited we get to hear from her tonight. I want to quickly though welcome Amber to the call. And I don't know if we have any other new faces. But, oh, and this is her first team call. So Erin is like at the bottom of my screen, and she is patiently awaiting 22-minute hardcore. And by patiently, I mean like she ordered February 2nd, and there's been a whole shipping debacle. So I told her that that is not typical of our company, and she's going to have a great time. Is there any feedback from my line, or is it just in my ear? Cool. Okay. Well, so Sarah is a mom of two. I like how you said you're a wife of one, because I guess you kind of have to,
Just being goofy.
well, I mean, today, in this day and age, you have to specify, like, build on that now. She's been a coach since June 2010, but your start date was much later. It was in 2012. And she loves running. She loves Shakeology. And I really like this because Sarah's a 7-star diamond. She wants to be 10-star this year. This is her second year as an elite coach. But one of the things she loves is being lazy. And on her team call this morning, we were talking about how much you work when you build the business, but there is still time to rest and enjoy things you want to do. Like Sarah, if I remember right, you love your Netflix shows. Like you usually latch on to one show every season, right?
Oh, I'm in the final season of The Parenthood right now. My husband and I are both watching it, and it's emotion. Emotion. Yeah. And I love The Bachelor. Yeah, I like to be lazy. You guys never mind, whatever.
No, well, and that's important to find something that you love that's not just coaching, like to have an outlet that you let go of. But Sarah, I remember seeing her all the time at Bay Athletic Club, and I was like, there is no way that anybody is that happy all the time. Because aside from coaching and being a mom and being a wife to just one person so far, unless you find a polygamist that you want to, unless you find someone really cute. She also teaches Group X classes, and she has a huge role helping run Bay Athletic Club, which is Trina's club. So she does a lot, and every time I saw her, she was always peppy and happy. And I remember when she was pregnant with Odessa, and then she had her second baby, and I was like, man, this woman just rocks at life, and she does. So it's really cool. I told my team trying to promote this call that you're a fierce force of fun and fabulous leadership.
Oh, that's just awesome and so nice. And it's so funny because, Ashley, do you want me to start talking now?
Yeah.
I'm about to talk, so I just want to make sure. I was not like that in coach. Like, it's funny and still makes me a little bit uncomfortable. I try to take the compliment when someone describes me that way, because that is not the person I grew up being. I'm 34 years old. For a good 28 years, I was very negative, and I literally got the Eeyore award on my dance team in high school. Is that horrible? Thank you for reacting. Okay, yes, that's like the worst. So I'll share a little bit about my story before I get into the stuff that Ashley had asked me to share about, because I know there's some new people, so welcome. And I don't think I've had a chance to meet a lot of you either. But I called myself a realist, and I was a pessimist. And I just always was. I was waiting for the other shoe to drop. And coaching was very uncomfortable at first. Working at Bay Athletic Club with Trina, who's like freaking go-getter extraordinaire, we clashed big time. I signed up in 2010, the summer of, because I told Trina, I'm kind of thinking about this, and then boom, signed up. But I was not ready mentally to be a coach. I was I didn't even buy Shakeology right away. I didn't believe in it still. I didn't believe in the company. I didn't believe in myself. And so in December of 2012, this is more than almost 2 years later, a year and a half later, that was the first time I ever hit Success Club. And what changed was my husband and I did the Ultimate Reset. It had just come out, and it was a really big deal. Everyone was talking about it. And my husband went to the doctor, and his cholesterol was in the risk zone, and he's 30. So I was like, well, let's do this. And I was pregnant with my daughter at the time, so I didn't do the supplements, but I did the food with him. He did it, the whole shebang, and lost 20 pounds, and his cholesterol dropped from risk to no risk. His triglycerides dropped 92 points. And it was this program taught me about food. Like, up to this point, like, I'm working the front desk of a health club, literally with French fries under the counter and ketchup, checking people in, trying to be sly about getting a French fry and putting my hand in ketchup. I have full throttle energy drinks under the desk. I'm driving in a car with Trina, and I'm talking about how I like McDonald's cheeseburgers. Like, this was my life. I used to joke that I should use Diet Coke to brush my teeth. I thought it was cool that that's all I drank. It was what woke me up in the morning.
I can't even imagine talking to Trina about loving cheeseburgers. Like, I can't even imagine that conversation.
Drove off the road. Like, her and Kelly Lake, who you know, had worked for Trina for longer. Like, Trina's a huge influencer. Like, I never would have got where I was if she wasn't in my life all the time, because I didn't do personal development either. And she was like a walking, talking version of personal development down my throat. And that has gotten me to this life that's so much better. But yeah, they were like, what? Like, off the road. And I'm like, oh my God, they're good. Like, that little pickle and the onion chunks, like, it's perfect. Now it's just like a science experiment to me. So I couldn't imagine eating it. But the Ultimate Reset completely changed the way I looked at food. It not only gave us results, it started to educate me. And after my 5th time doing it, just in this past January, things are sticky, you know. And like, the first time after my husband and I did it, the day 22, when you're done, we got a pizza, we got Culver's, and we got beer. And we got so sick, but we celebrated with food. Like, you know, it takes time to change the stuff. And this 5th time after doing it, like, I haven't had pizza, I haven't had ice cream, I haven't had chocolate chips. Like, I'm still eating really, really good, because this just starts to become who you are. Like, being a coach benefits your life in so many ways. And you don't have to be on the Zoom thinking, I got to get to 3-star diamond by the end of the year. You get to pick whatever you want it to be and just be okay with it. I'm so thankful that I'm healthier because the stuff was just around me all the time. But anyways, at that moment, the Ultimate Reset, year 1, I was like, this stuff works. What Beachbody does is legit. I think I have the confidence to actually help people get results. And I hit Success Club for my first time ever, December of 2012, and haven't stopped since. The confidence was just there. And yeah. So Ashley had asked me to talk about leadership in challenge groups and in growing a team. And I'm guessing we've got coaches at all different levels in this business on this call right now. So I think this will give you stuff for wherever you're at. You know, like, you only have to look really 5 feet out of your comfort zone is what I tell a lot of my coaches. Like, because so many times I would get paralyzed in this business because I was like, oh my God, how am I ever going to get there? And, you know, it's like what we tell people with when they're trying to lose weight. Like, I always say, don't look at the top like at the top of the staircase or the top of the mountain or anything like that. Like, look at the first 2 steps in front of you. You know, you're going to overwhelm yourself. So I know you'll all get something from this call. And if some of this stuff doesn't make sense, just trust you'll get there. You'll figure it out when you're ready. You know, it'll make sense when you're ready. There's so many things Trina has said where I was just like, and then like down the road, I'm like, this is it. This is what she was talking about. Okay, so let me talk about where to start with leadership. Hey, hold on one second. I can hear myself. What?
Can you start with leading yourself, right? Because I think a lot of people get hung up on leading challengers. You got that. All right. You're just rolling. Keep talking. And you're
as I was writing this today, sorry, I could hear my son like army crawling upstairs. As I was writing this today, thinking about my journey in leadership, because I was so scared to be a leader, which is one of the reasons why I didn't start my business right away. I was scared I was going to let people down. I think the first thing you have to be able to do is lead yourself. And so I want to talk about that first, because that is step 1. As a coach, you're not perfect, but you are basically committing to the world, like, I'm never going to give up on myself. And I think some of that means like having rules for yourself. I did a mindset boot camp for Team Rockstar Fit that talks about this even more over the summer. But Todd Durkin is a leader in the fitness industry. And I heard a presentation he did one time where he talked about what are your rules for life? because you have to be able to lead yourself to be a good leader to anyone else. And you get to pick your rules, okay? You don't have to run them past Ashley. You don't have to run past Trina. You get to pick what you want, okay? So my rules now are way more refined and pretty and on these nice little sheets that are on my little board that I see every day. But when I started, it was like subconsciously like, okay, my rule is, I think some of my first rules were like, I'm going to post on Facebook every day. I'm going to show up each day for my challenge group and respond to people. I'm going to make sure that I respond to people within 24 hours in my inbox. Those were kind of the 3 things that were like rules for me in the beginning. So maybe like whatever it might be, your non-negotiables in this. Hopefully you would have my Shakeology every day, my workout every day, kind of that self-care part too. But in the beginning, like I wasn't even doing that yet. But like if you start there, that's probably better. Like my rules today, let me just give you some examples. And your rules get to be whatever you want. I'm just sharing mine, what works for me. I have daily self-care. And that's like Shake-O, workout, skincare routine, no fast food, no soda, and affirmations. Kitchen closed. I put no eating after 9 p.m. Hence why I was eating some guacamole really quick. Follow through. Do the things I say I'm going to do. Read your PD. Read at least 15 minutes each day. And you can put all areas of life. I have kids 90. At least 90% of every 365 days, I read to my kids and put them to bed and teach them something. Gratitude, write my gratitude journal every morning. Empower, send love, energy, and support to at least 5 different people a week. Protect, never be scared to leave or stop a situation with bad energy. I want to do a freaking lot because people complain and you can feel it once you really start to take yourself out of those situations. My journey, my pace. Run my own race and never be ashamed to put my blinders on. People first. Always put people before points, profits, and rank. Lift up. Strive to never make my team feel like they are disappointing me. And uninterrupted. Spend at least 3 hours of no distraction time with my husband a week. I might not like completely pass every single week on these rules, but they are like benchmarks I want to hit. They always keep me in this circle where I feel kind of good. So that's your first assignment. Like no matter where you are in this business, like do you have rules for yourself in your life? It's not just in Beachbody, it's in your life because you're not just a Beachbody coach. You're an inspiration to someone. You're the total package. You have a lot of rules. You've heard in Rock the Basics, they talk about the 6 rules. Coach is one of them. Wife, mom, your job, all that other stuff might be other ones. And I think rules give you kind of integrity and credibility with people too.
Yeah.
You stand for something and you're consistent with it. Because there are a lot of people who are not consistent. It's like baffling sometimes. I just don't get how life can be that way for some people, but it is. That was what I wrote down. Leaders are reliable and consistent. That's checkpoint number 1. If you want to start leading, are you reliable and are you consistent? And I think these rules will help. Perfect.
And you keep those right in front of you because you're forcing yourself to check in and make sure. So they're on your desk. Okay.
I had them on very big sheets and then I redid my office and I got this cute, nicer, but smaller bulletin board. So I shrunk them down. Put them there. You can even put these in your wallet if you wanted to.
I love it.
Your fridge. But I think about that. I think about them a lot. Like when I'm working out in the morning, I kind of look and just I'm like, oh yeah, I want to do that.
I love that.
So step 1, like that's a huge action item you can do tonight is start thinking about that. And I always recommend like just take out a blank piece of paper and just start writing out what comes to your mind and maybe you go back to it in the morning or the next day and you can kind of start to like make it more organized or, you might have a new idea to throw in there. So cool. So to be a good leader, you have to lead yourself. No one's going to follow you if you can't do a good job leading it yourself. That does not mean being perfect. It just means having a vision of what you want to hold yourself accountable to in life. Cool. So I thought it was funny. I looked at the definition of leader online, and it was the person who leads or commands a group, organization, or country. And I was like, I disagree. I think a lot of people need to learn how to lead themselves in this world. Anyways, okay, so one of the biggest struggles for me was accepting this role of a leader. Leader of self is kind of hard enough. That's a little bit of pressure. But then to think of this idea of actually leading, like the definition says, a group, now an organization with my team. At first it's kind of like leading a challenge group. And then as you grow your team, you're leading an organization. It can be a little bit intimidating. So a lot of the things, I had a lot of fears and doubts, and I just had to start squashing them. I think, what if I don't get them results? What if I let them down? What if I don't meet their expectations? Does anyone ever think that? Like, that was such a fear for me. And I was so scared to invite because I was scared of those kind of things. And then I just started to think, do I always want to be a follower? Or do I want to be a leader? Like, that started to become the question. Sometimes you hear people say things like, it just became too painful to stay where I was, so I had to change. Like whenever people say that, it's like a whoa kind of chills thing. And it's kind of the same thing. Not like you have to get chills right now, but like, do you always want to be a follower? And that's okay. Maybe you love being a coach because of the community and someone is always there to inspire you. If that's you, that's fine. Rock it. Who knows? Maybe 2 years from now, you'll be like, okay, I'm ready. But if you're ready to step up and lead, start to squash those fears and doubts. Maybe it's just identifying them at first. I feel like so many of these things were in my subconscious. Ozzy, you guys should see him. He's like curled up on the top step, just his little eyes. Hold on.
I was like, boys, get in bed. And then we started the call. I love it.
Okay. He's just so adorable that he gets away with anything.
I feel like I haven't seen, I think he was a baby when we moved. Like, not even crawling.
He's like, very in love with every Disney princess out there. But I think a lot of these things were in my subconscious. Like, I didn't do a lot of self-reflection then, but I had these feelings that held me back. So you might have to just give yourself some space and some quietness and let some of these things come to the surface. I love in the 15 Laws of Growth, John Maxwell talks about this as one of the rules or the invaluable laws of growth. And he says something to the fact where it's like, you have to give your mind, your emotions time to catch up with your thoughts. So sometimes, just sitting there and having that quiet time, reflect, trust that what you need to know is going to come to you in that time. For me, like, running is huge. If I go running without music, I'm like stopping in the middle of the trail, like getting my notes app. I'm like, that's an amazing idea. Maybe it's meditating. So if you're feeling like you're scared to take on that leadership role, do that exercise. See, like, what is it? And then, like, I don't know, share with your sponsor, squash it, do something. I found this quote that I liked about leadership. It says, there's no better exercise for strengthening the heart than reaching down and lifting people up. And that is exactly what a coach does. We are all about lifting people up. We are not selling them makeup and we're not selling them kitchen stuff. Like, I love that stuff, but we're like giving them a new life. We're giving them a second chance. We're giving them hope. We're selling them hope. And it's a big job, but it's the most rewarding job out there. So if you're hesitant about moving into those leadership roles, start to maybe think about why, so you can figure out how to move past it. Because then you're going to rock your challenge groups better and you're going to grow an even more amazing team. You got to embrace that leadership role. Okay, I have some tips on actual challenge group leading tips and then actual team leadership tips. But I'll pause for a second just in case there's any questions. Let's go ahead and take a drink. This is not soda, by the way. It totally looks like it.
You guys go ahead and unmute if you have questions or use the chat. Sarah, I would just say, once you started embracing leadership, like something that feels really scary, don't you kind of just start to fall in love with it? You're like, oh, this is like the best part of the job, really. Like,
yeah, I mean, when it works, and I'll be honest, sometimes it's hard because Trina always says heart and armor. And you'll have challengers that rocket and disappear. And you're like, what the hell? Like, where'd you go? Why won't you talk to me? What did I do wrong? But then you'll have challengers that will change their life. One of my challengers, who's now a coach, has lost 60 pounds. Like, could barely walk before, has had so many foot reconstruction surgeries, and is running half marathons. She just signed up for a half marathon in Ireland. And you start to become numb to it sometimes when these people show up and they keep getting these changes and they're moving forward and moving forward. But like, you got to focus on that stuff. Like, that's so worth having the crap that sometimes will happen. You know, it's not going to be perfect all the time. And that's why I love that heart and armor term that Trina always says.
Yeah, oh, that's good.
Yeah, but it is the best feeling, especially in challenge groups where you do have those people that are fired up and rocking it. So, yay. Okay, you want me to move into tips?
Yes.
Okay.
Actually, our team's Sheila is leading a How to Rock Your Challenge group on my challenge tracker. And so I think it's so fitting that you're bringing your own tips like this week.
Yay. Okay, perfect. Yeah, these are just my personal tips for running challenge groups, which, by the way, like, you always have to have challenge groups going, in my opinion. And that's something that I think once I started coaching, that helped me. I always knew what was coming up next. I always had a short challenge, like a 5-day or a 7-day or something like that. And then I always had a long challenge. Just knowing ahead of time. Like right now, you should definitely know what's going on for March. If you're really awesome, you even know April. But yeah, so tip number 1 is to set expectations. Expectations are huge everywhere, pretty much. Especially, and so in your challenge groups, you want them to know, what are they getting from you? And you want them to know why they want to be here, why they want to show up. Do that. I mean, that you set that up multiple ways. You set that up in the messaging when you're inviting them to the group. You know, if you're doing other one-on-one messages and you're saying, hey, the group starts in a few days, you know, like, here's what to expect. You can do it there. I usually post a video in my challenge groups and just say, you know, here's what to expect and here's why you're going to want to do it. This is what you're going to get from it. And tag them all and get them to comment below, stuff like that. And then I've even done groups before where I've done a contract, and I loved that. I did that a couple times, and that contract was amazing because people, I think, really took it seriously. Like, I had them, this was like Thursday, and I think the group started on Monday. And it was a group that I did called 12 Days of Self-Love. And I basically took the book, The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari, which has the 10 rituals of life in it. And I did a ritual each day. So I kind of did like a book report on it. But I let them know, like, these morning posts are going to be intense. You're going to want to give yourself 15 minutes to really read this and reflect on it and then comment. And so that was reflected in the contract and things like, you know, I promise to love myself and not beat myself up if I have a bad day. I promise to keep showing up, things like that. You know, not like I must work out 35 minutes every single day. I must be a 10. More just like your accountability to the group. And I had them take a picture and put it in the comments below. And that had great participation. And then posts leading up to the group too. Sometimes I'm floored when coaches just start it on Monday and the challenge starts on Monday. You know, I couldn't imagine doing that. I feel like there's so much to communicate before it starts, and you want to get their heads right and you want to get them thinking about it, and you really want to amp up the excitement. So we generally will do posts, you know, expectations, a contract, why you should be excited about drinking your Shakeology, and unboxing of challenge packs, like how to take your weight and measurements, why to take pictures, you know, put on a pair of tight jeans, just anything to kind of get them ready. Introductions, that kind of stuff. Number 2 is just basic logistics. And I think this stuff, I'm guessing a lot of you probably know this, but this is good stuff to cover with new coaches too. who might not know it. And I think they're these basic logistics that help challenge groups run better. And I'm picturing more in Facebook for a couple of these. So tag people. You know, in Facebook, like if I'm going to do a video, like we're doing a 7-day Shakeology taste sampler soon, and I'm going to post my morning video and write something about it, and then I'm going to tag everyone. Like they make it so easy to tag everyone and then hit post. Like so many people just miss it if you don't tag it. And then show up when you say you will. You know, if I set the expectation that there's going to be a morning post and there's going to be an evening post, try to like keep them consistent. The challenge tracker is amazing for that because you can schedule, which is so nice. But if you're coaching with other people too, just be like, okay, can you make sure the evening post is up between 8 p.m. and 8:30 every night? You know, and if that's not going to work one night, let us know. I think that consistency helps them have more structure. Comment back. Carl said on a National Wake Up Call, recently he was hopping around in people's challenge groups. Did you guys hear him mention that? Where he was like, I'm surprised how many coaches have not been in the group. That breaks my heart. Like that kind of stuff was the stuff that made me morally unable to do coaching in the beginning. Like I would not be able to live myself, but you didn't comment back. So hopefully you feel that way too. Like these people made an investment with their hope in what you are offering. So comment back when you can. Make a commitment to get in there each day. If you're working with a group of people, like make sure that set the expectation among the coaching team that every person's going to have at least one comment. You know, in the challenge tracker right now, I've got 2 other coaches I'm doing the challenge with. And every day I make time to just go through the newsfeed and comment, even on them posting their shake or their workout, you know, just something.
Sarah, on your contract, if they break it, like when you have someone just ghost a group and you've reached out to them, do you remove them? I'm just curious what you do. No, you leave them.
No. And with that contract, I had way less people ghost a group versus without it, which was amazing. But yeah, I always had people that go, you know, by the last week, there might have been like 20 check-in comments. There's like 8 by the last week. And a lot of them will be like, oh, I'm paying attention. I just got busy. And I just have to, I think what's the harm of letting them stay in? You know, hopefully it'll keep them somewhat connected to me.
And you're not beating yourself up over the fact that the 3rd week of any group is.
I had to get over it. Trina said something once. She's like, if you want to stay sane in this business, you give it your all, you do what you know you can do. And then she was just like, and you just walk away. And I was like, yep. You know? And sometimes like my message to them when they go MIA and they're not responding, like the one I love is, you know, I feel like I'm being a horrible coach to you. Like, please fill me in what's going on. Like I'm missing you in the group. And then they write and they're like, oh my God, you're amazing. It's me. And I'm like, I know, but it got you to like respond. So yeah, you're always probably going to have people like that, but you can't, it's hard. Like even with coaches, you're going to have challengers like that. You're going to have coaches like that who you thought were in it and then they're not. And you got to not let your assumptions affect the way you treat them in the future. Yeah, you're probably going to be more guarded, but just because they flake doesn't mean they can't be amazing in the future.
Yeah.
I'm actually passionate about that because I was a freaking flake. And I'm glad that Trina never gave up on me. People are ready when they're ready. And they're picking up on stuff that you're putting out there and it's chipping away. So you just never know. So yeah, be more guarded, like, but still have that hope if you can. Try to keep that pure hope for them. Number 3, no autopilot. This is for basic logistics, just meaning like I make it a goal to personally message all my challengers at least once a week. Generally, if things are good, we're having messages back and forth throughout the challenge. Because my goal is ultimately to get everyone to a coach. I think that people often start skeptical and then they start to have curiosity and then they start to have some acceptance and then they start to really enjoy the vibe and then coach. if someone loves this and makes this lifestyle change, why wouldn't they end up a coach? You know, if we really do a good job and they really like benefit from this, which most people will who give it their all, they should. So anyways, like having those one-on-one conversations is where that's built. Because if you're continuing to build that relationship, they're not just seeing you as their leader in the challenge group, but really someone who's supporting them and now a friend. When you ask them to be a coach, they're going to trust you. So ideally, I want to be talking to my challengers, you know, casual conversations back and forth, maybe deeper, like if needed. But does that make sense? It's not always all of them, but.
Well, and you see that when coaches are running challenge groups, like Carl said, I think he said half of those people, coaches from the health vet, just started their group and then disappeared on their challengers. Then coaches get frustrated that people aren't joining their team. Your customers can't even trust you to help them finish a 21-day program. They're not going to trust you to help them build a business, which all goes back to what you said, being consistent. That's your credibility right there.
Heck yeah. And it's your frequency. Have you guys read this book?
Yes.
Oh, it matches my office. Really nice.
It does.
This book was a game changer when I finally started doing personal development. And I really, truly believe in your frequency, your vibe, your energy you put off, any of that stuff. And I think when you do stuff like that, it does lower your frequency. And that comes through in everything you do, even a message on Facebook, because subconsciously it's affecting the way you probably feel about yourself. So yeah, if you don't want to do it for your challengers, do it for yourself. For sure. Yay. Okay, tip number 3, tough love. It drives me nuts in challenge groups and I used to do this in the beginning because I didn't want to hurt anyone's feelings, where it's like, oh, I took a walk today and I was like a 5 day after day after day. And I'd be like, okay, great, glad you walked. You have people like that, right, in your group? And so it's like, you're the coach. Like, you get to call them out. They're never going to go where you want them to go if you don't. And actually, we were on the Zoom this morning. Amanda Freeland was saying something similar to this, but with a coach situation. And it's like, they're never going to go where you want them to go if you don't give them tough love. If you let them keep walking and being a 5, they're going to put weight on. You have ultimately failed them. You know, like, you have not failed them if you say something and they get upset and they leave away. Like, you were their mirror. They just weren't ready to look in it. So listen, you don't have to be a jerk about it, but you can be like, I'm really glad you got outside to walk. Movement is important. The sunshine is so great for you, but we really need to get your heart rate up. You know, can we pick something that you could do 10 minutes to really get a sweat going tomorrow? And then maybe if you're awesome and you have time, follow up with an inbox like, hey, I really want to give you a good sweat tomorrow for 10 minutes. Like, what do you have on hand? What do you feel comfortable doing? Like, get them to take a step out of their comfort zone. And then number 4 is pick themes that speak to you. So, you know, like, you could do your typical challenge group over and over again, but I think you're going to get burnt out. And I think they're more fun if you do things that speak to you. Right now I'm doing an eat and talk like you love yourself. So Vito was on our team Zoom last night and he was going marketing crazy, and he had us like draw a graph with the calendar for the year. And he's like, in these blank boxes, he's like, just start to fill out things that are happening in those months. And maybe it'll help you start to come up with themes. You know, even like, it could be your birthday. Maybe you're turning 40 and you're going to do a Fit for 40 challenge. Like, P.S., even if you're not 40 or turning 40, you can start getting fit for it, kind of thing. It doesn't have to be around calendar events. You know, I did a You Are a Badass challenge and everyone read the book, and that was one of my favorite ones ever. I've done a straight up just hardcore one when that came out, and we just talked about the workouts every day. That's pretty easy too and exciting with the new program. Same thing for Quarter Force. In December, I did the 12 Days of Self-Love, and I did basically what I got from the monk who sold his Ferrari. The one I did in January, I read the book Super Life by Darren Orlean. It's an amazing book. That's the man who created Shakeology. And the nutrition, like, he just shares so many amazing things. But I shared from that every single morning and just educated them. I did like a book report. And I think people really liked it. A lot of them bought the book afterwards. So that's what I have written down for actual challenge group tips. And then I was going to go to actual team leadership tips. but I can pause if there's any questions or comments.
I really like what you said about giving tough love because, like, my whole team knows I'm just blue through and through. And someone said to me, I don't even remember who it was, but recently, like, when they reach out for a coach, they're essentially asking for that tough love because they can't lead themselves.
Exactly.
And I kind of, you can look at it like parenting. Like, you can be your kid's best friend, but you're not grooming them. You groom them when you say, hey, you can't do that. This is a better option for a better outcome for your life overall. And I think that a lot of times we lose people, or they don't see results, or they're frustrated with their experience because we're not willing to be their parent, but lead them and say, like, knock it off. I wouldn't pay for Trina's boot camp if she wasn't like telling me to get my shit together when I'm feeling tired, and we don't do that a lot of times because we're afraid to offend people. But
right.
Yeah, giving yourself permission to just say what needs to be said.
And as a blue myself, like a lot of times I would just ask for permission. I would just say something like, hey, you're doing awesome. I'm just thinking about what your goals were when you started. Is it okay if I share some observations with you? Like, ask for permission before you go there. And I do that on coaching calls with coaches too.
Yeah, that's good.
I just think about, like, if Trina hadn't given me tough love, like, my life was easy. I got everything I needed, wanted, was able to get B's, didn't have to work hard in school. Like, everything was mediocre because no one challenged me.
Yeah.
Those people might be in that same spot. Just an idea. I'm going to do a mind and body detox group in March. And one of the lessons is going to be creating rules for yourself. Holy moly, our challengers need that. It's like step one if they're ever going to make me be a coach someday. Cool.
That is a good idea. My pen is flying. I'm like 5 pages in.
Oh, yay. That's how I was last night, too. And this morning, I was taking tons of notes. Ashley was our guest on our Diamond Zoom this morning. Okay, so I have some tips for team leadership. So, number one is I would say make it an environment, your team, that is conducive to growth. So, you don't want to intimidate. You don't want to make people feel like they're not capable of something or they have to live up to the standard you're setting. I felt like that a lot with Trina, not that she was doing this on purpose. Like, a lot of it was me, and I was just like, I could never do that, and I don't know if I want to do that. And she's even said before, like, I was in her office one time, and I don't even know what we were talking about. She remembers this better than me. She said it recently on something, and she said, someone looked at me and just said, I don't want your life. And later, like, we were talking with Zoom, she's like, you're the one who said that to me. And I was like, oh my God, like, I'm so mean. Like, I cannot believe you kept me, like, in your life. And she was just like, but that's a good realization. Like, what I was putting out there was, you didn't want to do anything because you thought that's what your life was going to turn into if you decide to do this as coaching. So I have a lot of conversations with my coaches. I think assuring them more that this can be whatever you want it to be, not what I've done with it. Like, I feel like that always comes up one way or another on a call. And maybe that slows my business down a little bit, but I don't want them to feel pressured unless they want it. And if they say something like, hey, I want to be Diamond by Summit, I'm going to say, okay, do you want me to hold you accountable to that then? And I say that's going to add some stress to your life, but stress makes you grow. Is that okay? Like, really kind of establishing, like, what's about to go down. So yeah, I just don't ever want anyone to feel intimidated. I want them to feel empowered. I'll say things like, I've done it this way, but this business is fun. It's fun to be unique. How do you think you would do it? And kind of maybe walk through, offer suggestions where you feel like you can. Recognize and give real feedback. I really try to recognize action over results. One of my challengers one time, or my coaches, she's like, my summer job is going to be Beachbody coaching. She's a college student. And she's like, I need to make like $300 this month. And so I was like, okay, well, you need to have a challenge group going. And how many people, we figured out how many people that might be, like maybe 10 people or something like that. I'm like, okay, like, If you want to have 10 people in there, 10 yeses, you need to invite at least 100 people. I was so scared to say that because that's crazy. And she was just like, okay. And she did it. And she messaged me and she's like, I'm at 157, meaning like she'd messaged 157 people. And I was just like floored. And I just sent her a gift. Like I'm gifts. That's like my love language. And that's how I got to remember that not everyone, like she probably could just use a shout out, but I sent her a gift and just said, I don't care what happens. Like, I'm just proud of you for freaking doing it. It's like the actions, look for those actions. Try not to always celebrate rank, or something like Success Club. And, when my newer coaches finished a challenge group, I was like, how'd it go? How'd your people do? And then I did a shout out on them. Like, Sandra just helped her first person lose 10 pounds in this challenge group. Give control to those who want it. And, when I was in this more like, okay, my team is building, there's other people who are wanting to lead. It was kind of like, who wants to lead a training with me? What do you feel comfortable sharing on? Okay, that's your day. Even the 7-day I'm running this month, I like doing these 7-day Shakeology taste samplers with a bunch of coaches. Generally, I like to do my longer groups, just me, but I think the 7 days are super fun. It's more like a party. And I invite a lot of my PS coaches, and a lot of them are like veterans. So like, this is a good challenge group because they're all bringing good stuff to it. But I just say, what do you want to share on? Okay, awesome. That's your day. The standards, like trust in people to be able to do that. And of course you can give them feedback, or you can, if you think they're like, be like, I trust you to do this. Do you want a couple of pieces of my advice that I would do? Just kind of ask. And that brings me to my next thing. Like, asking permission has changed the game for me, because I'm a blue and I would hop on the phone and we would talk about life for 45 minutes and then get to Beachbody at the last 5 minutes and haven't done anything. It was wasting a lot of time. And so being able to ask permission to give feedback is huge. Or ask permission to give ideas or feedback. Criticism is such a bad word. Feedback is huge. So like, if you're talking to a coach on the phone and they've said they want to do something and they're not doing it, maybe the conversation is like, oh gosh, it sounds like, your week's going really good. Your workouts are awesome. I am a little surprised though. I know last time we talked, you had wanted to run this 5-day and have 10 people in it. Do you mind if we talk about that for a second? How's it going? Da, 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 da. They're like, oh, no one's responding to me. No one's writing back. And be like, that doesn't feel good. Like, validate, that doesn't feel good. Like, let's try and fix this. Like, my job is to help you feel great and be successful in this. Do you mind if I give you some feedback on and some ideas? So validation, just like you would for people who have objections, but then also ask permission to give that feedback. That just makes me feel really nice about it. Tip number 2, learn personalities. The color code, we're already talking in colors. I love the color code. And it's very funny because when I had to first take a personality test at Bay Athletic Club, Trina made us take one called Personality Plus, and I was pissed. And she ended the personality test like literally the next week. She didn't do it anymore with employees because I threw such a stink. Because it's basically the colors, but they have different names for them. Like a red is a powerful choleric, a yellow is a popular sanguine, a white is a peaceful phlegmatic, and you know what a blue is? A blue is a perfect melancholy. That is like the worst name. I don't want to be a perfect melancholy. And I remember her like, and I was just mad about like all my teammates, like they'd say stuff and they'd be like, oh yeah, that must have been really hard for you. Like I felt like Eeyore again. That's what melancholy, I think they mean the same thing, Eeyore and melancholy. And I remember Trina looking at me and being like, Janelle's blue. Like Janelle Summers, her sponsor. And I was like, I don't care. Like I was Googling melancholy. So anyways, just a side story. And so it was very funny. I think Trina's jaw kind of hit the floor when I started talking about how much I love the color code. And it has helped immensely. And I literally have, it'd be so cool if I could find this right now.
So your main is the color code. You've never done like gems or anything else. You love the color
No,
code.
but I think gems are the same. Gems just sound so girly to me.
That's
And
true.
I don't know. They always just came off like, personally, just I was like, it feels like clicky and like, I'm a gem. I don't know. It's my own opinion. Sorry. Anyways, I have a printout and I just got my office redone, but I have a printout that I have all my coaches on and their colors just to remind me. And obviously a blue, like they're driven by emotion and intimacy. If I'm going to get on a call with the blue, we're going to chat for a little bit about life. And I'm cool with that because I'm a blue too. And it's just a reminder like, okay, like, you know, transition. And I'll say something like, if we have a 30-minute call, it's like, hey, you know, we could talk forever because we're friends and this is fun, but I want to make sure we focus on your business. Can we focus on your business for the next 20 minutes? Like just acknowledging that, because you guys could just talk about life forever. Whites are really shy. One of my coaches was just saying, she's like, my whole team is like white. And I was like, okay, you need to be offering confidence building stuff constantly. Reds, they're just going to take action and they're going to get it done, but they can be very detached from emotion. If you have reds, they might struggle connecting with their challengers. They might struggle connecting with their coaches. You know, be aware of that and help them start to realize that and give them some tips. Because they don't see it as them doing something that's rude. They're just getting stuff done and they're not attached to it, which isn't a bad thing. It's just good to be aware of. And yellows are just carefree. They can be amazing coaches. One of my coaches, Carrie Novak, is up freaking like 80% yellow, and which is huge. And she's, you know, like in the beginning, it was kind of like flighty and all over the place and challenge groups not so planned and da-da-da. And I was like, Carrie, you are so fun, but you were burning yourself out, because she'd be so fun and then there was a crash. So fun and then a crash. So just starting to understand that stuff more. Like I knew their personalities and knew them, but then I was like, oh, you just tested as a yellow. Holy crap, that makes sense. Okay, now I feel like I have some stuff where I can help you. And it's fun to start to learn this stuff. Everyone's different. You're not just a blue, you're not just a red. There's a whole bunch of stuff going on there, but I think this is a good step to help. And we have a Fit and Free 101 for all new coaches. You guys, it sounds like you guys have something similar. Basically, the prep class from Rock the Basics is there that they can do as soon as they start. And in that, I added a lesson where they have to take the color code. Or I think it was in Rock the Basics, but maybe it wasn't until 1.0 or something like that. But I'm like, I need to know before I get on that get started right call with them, what is their color code? Because I'm like, if someone's a white, like honestly, I'm like, okay, we're probably not going to talk about the business unless they are a white red. Okay, I'm not going to get too into this, but I love this stuff. White reds can be freaking powerhouses in this business. They are like a quiet force. And they take what reds can sometimes come off as rude because they're just charging. They like center it in this perfect spot where they're like really thoughtful and like observant, but also driven. They're just this quiet force. Red yellows can, like it can just be, I want this done. I have a red yellow. And she's like, I'm going to lead this year. And I can look at a business, but I have no idea how that's going to happen at this moment. But she's so yellow that she doesn't even realize it. And she's all over the place and she's moving from one idea to the next, but then she's red and she's running full force. So it's just very interesting. Red, blues, purples. I'm a red blue. And I was like, oh, that makes sense. And I have like 2% yellow. And I'm like, that makes sense because I'm not that carefree. But anyways, colors. I could do a whole Zoom on that. I'm going to move on. Number 3, don't lose your own leadership voice. And this is kind of like, this was my lesson last year. I had so many leaders. There's more than 20 diamonds in my downline of Team Fit and Free, which is amazing. And I pride myself on being a level 5 leader, where it means I want other people to be at the same level of leadership as me and possibly surpass me. You know, if you want your people to be more successful than you, that is always going to bring you good things. And I just backed off so much because I didn't want to step on anyone's toes who was stepping up to lead. And then at the end of the year, I just felt like, oh, I feel like I've done a horrible job. But I'm like looking at everything. And I'm like, all this stuff's here. I did great, but I felt horrible. And reflecting about it, I was like, I completely stepped out of this leadership role. And I talked to Trina about it. And she's like, you've got people on your team who are going to lead really hard and they're going to have their team, and that's fine. She's like, but there's still people who want to hear your voice. So don't stop leading just because there's a bunch of other leaders. Be respectful of each other, but don't stop leading. And then number 4, what the heck do I mean by that? Offer to I'm talking about blinders in leadership. I think blinders in leadership are even more important than maybe when you're starting out. Blinders have got me to where I am because comparison is so easy for me to fall into. And as I grew in leadership, I needed thicker and thicker and thicker blinders. Oh my God, I need to be doing that team training, or I need to help my coach do that, or we need to do this, or I should be doing this. I should be sending them this gift. Just keep the blinders on. You have to look up every now and then, as Trina has said, which I think is a great point. You have to look up to gauge the situation, but just do what feels good to you. Do what you think your challengers, your person is going to respond to best. So that's what I have.
I love it. Like, the notes are endless. And I mean, whether you're in the diamond page seeing what a bunch of other diamonds are doing, or whether you're in Team Rockstar Fit page, which is huge, or even in our own team page, there's so much going on all the time that when you sit down, it can almost be like, I hate watching Dish because there's too many channels and I don't know what to watch and I don't know what to do, and then I just don't do anything. And I'm hopping around from channel to channel, where the same thing is in the team page. You're like, oh my gosh, they're doing that, they're doing that, they're doing that challenge group. Like, you really just have to, what do I want to do, and what's going to work? What's going to work for me? What's going to work for my challengers? What's going to work for my team? Like, at any given moment, I could go on the diamond page and feel like this big about what I'm doing.
You know what it reminds me of? Okay, so thankfully I've not been doing this lately, but if I eat something bad, boom, bad. Like, I'm going to have 2 chocolate chips. Half the bag is gone. Like, this is the story of my life. Like, I just have a very addictive eating when, like, I can't stop. And so all of a sudden, I feel like crap. I'm pissed. I hate myself. If I go to Bonnie Ingles' page because I hear in a wake-up call, 10 minutes later, I hate myself. I'm like, why am I doing this? I felt so good earlier today. It's exactly the same thing.
That is it. Do you guys have any questions for Sarah? Because I have 2 fun questions to end the call with, but I want you guys to get to, anything from challenge groups, or you can use the chat, or you can unmute because you have her. Sarah, I really thought you were yellow. Are you kidding?
Oh my God, I'm flattered. I am so flattered. I can't believe you thought that.
I think because I just picture you doing Zumba and like bouncing around, and I'm like, she's a yellow for sure.
No, like 2%. And I think it's because I have such bad anxiety stroke. Like, when we were on the cruise for the Success Club trip last year, I got off the boat to walk to a beach, and my husband and I had to turn around because I couldn't just have fun. I was so affected by everyone else, and like, people are begging for money, and I just felt like, this is horrible. Like, I can't have fun in this situation. Like, I think I'm very empathetic and just feel stuff. And so in Zumba, everyone's happy, so that helps.
Yeah, that does help. She's not on this call, but Alex gets frustrated with me when we go to Vegas because she's like, you just can't have fun. I was like, you don't understand. There's too many homeless people. There's too many women who are drunk. They have to make sure they get home safely. Like, I can't enjoy this.
I know. I can have a great time. Like, at Summit this year, there were like 60 Team Fit and Freers there, and we had a party at a house, and I got to meet all these people I've never met, and it was amazing, and I completely felt at peace, and I was myself, and I was drinking. I got red wine on my dress, and I compared it to like my wedding reception is how it felt. But it's like, when you're surrounded by those people, like, you got to be in a comfortable situation.
That's good. Oh my gosh, I loved this call. I have so many notes. I was wondering, because we talked a little bit about pain points this morning with Sarah's team. Would you mind sharing what was the hardest thing, other than embracing leadership, that you faced as a brand new coach? What was your pain point? And then what's the hardest thing now? It's been 5 years.
I would say there's a lot of pain points, but I think a main one was I was so terrified to lose my identity. I thought people were going to think I was a groupie. I thought people were going to think I was just trying to be Trina, especially because like we're in Alpena. It's a small town. Everyone knows who Trina is, and they either love her or hate her. And that's what happens when you're successful. Like, people have an opinion about you. And I was like, everyone's just going to think I'm trying to be Trina. And that killed me, because that was like the opposite of what I want. Because back in that day, I'm still like, I'm not even sure like if Trina and I are going to be friends. Like, it's still clashing a lot. So that was a huge pain point. And somewhere along the way, I was just like, I'm just going to be me. And I really believe I can help people. So I'm just going to be me. And that's also why I can't go to other coaches' pages, because it makes me, I can't figure out who I am for a good like 24 hours after going to other people's pages. And then when you said that this morning about the pain points, Ashley, I mean, mine is definitely the inviting. You know, I know how to do it, and I do it, and I'm great at inviting challenge groups. It's inviting to this business. I still get in my head so much. And I try to remind myself that this could change someone's life. I look at my team, this has changed all of their lives. Think about Amanda, who I mentioned in the call, 60 pounds later, running half marathons, this freaking changed her life. In the financial part, Carrie Novak, single mom, working 5 jobs. You know, oh my gosh. She sent me a text. She's always lived with a negative balance in her checking account. She's just used to it. She's like, I go to Walmart, my daughter wanted oranges and Pokemon cards, and I'm doing the math in my head, and she had to pick one. Like, that's her life, and that makes me really sad. She sent me a text. Ugh. I wish I could. Let's see. Okay. So I'm used to hearing about something with money or being late on rent. Like, it's still a struggle. She's building this business, but she's getting more and more. So I see this text, and all I see, you know how like on text you just see the beginning before you read the whole thing? And it says, tears. I just got an alert from my bank. It's over the $1,000 threshold. That's all I saw. I just put my phone down. I was like, I can't. Like, it's going to break my heart. Like, how is this happening? And so finally, like, hours go by, and I decided to look at it. And here's the rest of the message. You see, I set up my account to alert me when it goes below $20, so I know just before it's going to go negative. I also set it up to alert me when it goes above $1,000, kind of as a joke a few years ago. She's a yellow. She would do something silly like this. And today's alert had me thinking, oh, what bill came out and put me overdrawn? But it was an alert that I have more than $1,000 in my checking. I can register for the cruise and make my car payment and pay my electricity and Farron's dance tuition. Oh my God, thank you for helping me. Thank you so much. XOXOXO.
Oh my God.
Every time I read that, I cry.
I'm going to cry now.
Like, she's traveling this year. She's from the UP of Michigan. They never had money growing up. She's just been used to this lifestyle. And she's going to the New Leader Conference. She's going to or wherever we're going, Punta Cana. She's going to Summit, and she's going to go to hopefully leadership. And she's like, I've never traveled this much in my life. Like, her life is changed. She's off of anxiety medication. Like, I try to remember these kind of people when I'm inviting to this. And my struggle is I think about all it took to get them there. And it's like, can I do that again? Can all those pieces fall into the same place to get them there again? And I just I'm in my own head too much about it. And so that's a pain point for me, is like, I don't invite, like you hear some of these top coaches inviting. Not at all. If Julianne Condia, one of my coaches, was on this call, she's great at it. If she's not in her head, she just knows I'm going to empower someone. So.
Well, and I like that you shared that, because I want everyone to hear that. Here's this 2-time elite 7-star diamond who still gets in her own way inviting to the business. And I actually noticed, Sarah, on your personal page, you had shared your dream board. And what caught my attention was you wanted to recruit 12 new coaches. And I was like, wow, that's not a lot of coaches for an elite coach. But there's the but though. You can onboard fewer people, and when you do it well with the intention that text messages from my personally sponsored coaches are literally going to bring me to tears, then it's like that quality to quantity ratio. You don't have to recruit as hard. So, I mean, on the one hand, yeah, you do need to get out of your own head, but on the other hand, it's okay to do a really good job with a few people than try and do a mediocre job with 20 coaches a month. I don't know how people recruit 20. I don't understand.
No, I'm like, if I can get 2 a month, that's ideally my goal. Success Club 10 and 2 a month.
Yeah, no, that's good.
And, so, gosh, it's easy to hit elite with that. It really is. If you like actually help your people.
And I definitely usually recruit more than 2 coaches a month. And when you get that elite report, what's missing is always duplication down in the downline. It's not necessarily like people think hitting elite is crazy Success Club numbers in recruiting. It's really not. It's can you engage and foster the people you're working with really well? And that's what Sarah's done really well.
And I think sorry, I don't mean to get so technical about elite. This isn't really technical. I think that elite has happened for me more because of volume. I think I do a great job getting people to love Shakeology, to love what it does for them, to understand the value, the fact that all the ingredients are picked off a tree in a rainforest somewhere, dried in the shade, literally ground into a powder and then put in a bag. That's literally you're eating it off the tree, and introducing them to Focus Energy Boost, introducing them to Energize. I just had one of my challengers, who's a coach actually, message me last night and say, I haven't had a Red Bull in 4 months. Thank you for introducing me to Energize and Focus Energy Boost. Yeah, it's still caffeine, but it's a heck of a lot better than a Red Bull. She's a nurse working crazy shifts. So I think I do a really good job of exposing people to the other things that they can get. So my ATV grows, which is your accumulated team volume. You get elite points for personally sponsored coaches PV from that year. So introducing them to other stuff I think they might like.
Yeah, so that's important. Okay, so 5 years, you've done this business for 5 years. I'm going to end with this question. Where do you see yourself 5 years from now?
Oh, wow. I don't know. Gosh. It's still you guys remember, I struggled so much with self-doubt, and that is scary still for me to picture, because even though I might have had what looks like great success, I'm still terrified. Can I keep this going? Because I can get in my head and overwhelm myself. And 5 years from now, I hope that my team is stronger. I hope that I have even more best friends. All of my coaches are people that I would take a vacation with if I could literally pick who to take. I would hope that, I'm able to just take my kids to school, pick them up from school, and work this business during the day, and then have my evenings for my family. I think what's always been a driver for me is the fact that I don't ever want anyone to ever be in charge of my schedule. I want to be able to pick my kids up when I want. I want to be able to go to a dentist appointment. I want to be able to go to a doctor's appointment with them. I don't want someone else to take them, So I hope that I'm just really present. And more than anything, I hope that I'm just really confident with who I am and have no trouble putting that out there. Because sometimes I really question, did I share too much? Is this really what I think? What are people going to think of me? And I just want to be this is who I am. Whatever. As one of my coaches said this morning, she's delete me or join me. I'm I like that. I want to feel that way. So.
Well, we titled this call Leaning into Leadership, and the reason Sarah is a level 5 leader, if you caught her answer, a lot of people, when you say where do you want to be from 5 years from now, they're going to talk about being a 15-star diamond or $1 million. Sarah did not give you a single answer that is really about rank or income. It's about her team, her family, being present, living life by her rules. So Sarah, I love that you were on today. I would encourage everyone who was on the call or listened to the recording, take some time and journal out your rules. How are you going to live your life? What do you want to live by? And can you abide by those? Some of the rules are literally daily tasks, like drinking your shake. It's on your tracker. But what other rules do you want? Time with your family, time with your kids. It's really cool, Sarah, and we're definitely grateful that you took your time with us tonight.
I'm really grateful you guys are here and nodding and listening and laughing. I appreciate that. It's always fun to get to share. If you have the opportunity, do it. Like, it's really a nice confidence too, and reminds you how much you have done.
Yeah.
You know? Like, it's pretty awesome. So thank you so much for letting me be the guest.
Well, before I end this, let's get a picture. So everyone do a nice smile. And good, Erica's back. Oh, we got Julie. Okay, I'll give you a countdown so there's no one that's like, ah. Okay, Sarah can do that. Okay, one, two, three. I love it. Okay, well, get your kids to bed. Thank you, everyone. I loved this call. Sarah, my notebook is full. I appreciate you.
Well, my whatever love tank, energy tank, appreciation tank is filled. So thank you guys. Bye.
Bye.